Very good afternoon to you, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, may I extend a very warm welcome to all the participants on behalf of CII. CII has organized 75 online sessions since the launch of webinar in 2009. Over 4,000 members have participated, and the feedback from our membership is quite encouraging. Today's webinar will deliberate on the enterprise architecture. I would take this opportunity to thank Mr. J. Prakash for accepting our invitation to address CA members on importance of enterprise architecture. Mr. Prakash is an electronics engineer from Madras University and MBA from IIM Bangalore. He has varied corporate experience in organizations like IBM World Trade Corporation, Greaves Cotton, Beston Crompton, Nico Corporation, Hambro Nico Financial Services, Samtel Technologies, Sterling Holidays Resorts, and many other things. He has held top management positions in most of these organizations since 1980. Also has entrepreneurial experience as he promoted an IT company, Sourceway Communications. CC&C Solutions was promoted and managed by its current managing principal, Vish Vishwanathan. Is a pioneer in promotion of enterprise architecture as a practice globally. CC&C Solution is involved in training and consulting on enterprise architecture in Australia, US, Europe, Singapore, and India. This webinar will be a one-way communication from CI Chennai. The live interactive session would begin after the presentation by Mr. J. Prakash. Participants are requested to type their questions in the question box, which will be open during the question answer session. And Mr. Prakash will take them up live and would answer all the questions raised. On behalf of CII and participants, I extend a warm welcome to Mr. Prakash and I request him to kindly speak. Over to you, Mr. Prakash. Before he takes over, I would like to say, we need to inform the presentation and the recording link of the session would be uploaded under My CII shortly after the session is over in 2 to 3 days time. You will be able to see the whole recording under My CII after a couple of days and the link will be provided to you. Thank you very much and over to you, Mr. Prakash.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Group Captain Mohandas, for this kind introduction. Thank you very much, all those participants who have registered. And I would also like to place my thanks to my friend N. Kumar, who made this presentation possible for me. Okay. Today, I'm going to speak to you about enterprise architecture. Enterprise architecture, by virtue of the fact that IT industry had developed ERP, Enterprise Resource Programming, Resource Planning, it is perceived as an enterprise architecture also an IT issue. It is not. It's more a business issue. So let me evolve that. The slide on your screen, you can see in the late 90s and early 21st century, the IT industry was growing at an annual rate of 25% globally. And one of the top vendors at that time was Dell Computers. They were in the top 4, so they were not small. When the industry was growing at 25% per annum, Dell wanted to grow at 100% year on year. On a planned manner, they did grow 100% year on year. It was 4 times the already unimaginable, the high growth rate of 25% for the industry. In 1999, Washington DC, During that time, Washington DC Municipal Corporation was considered to be the worst in the whole of the United States. The new mayor, Anthony Williams, took over and he was concerned about it. He changed the programs, the plans, the way services are rendered to the citizens. And in a matter of few years, 2 to 3 years, he got the council to be rated from the worst to the best council in the whole of the United States. What was unique in them that made such achievements possible? Actually, they were not unique. Their thoughts were unique, right? Did they have any supernatural power? None at all. Obviously, can every organization achieve such results? Is it possible? Or is it flash in the pan? Somebody is lucky, he got it done. I mean, it's not possible for everyone to do it. No, that's not true. It's possible for every organization to achieve such excellent results. Let's see how. There is a small shift in the slide there. You see, through strategic enterprise process architecture, essentially enterprise architecture, I just brought in these words, strategic enterprise process architecture, in order to make people understand enterprise architecture is all process management, right? So strategic enterprise process architecture is a business imperative. It's very important today. It's important for every business for them to achieve results which are commendable, which are excellence, right? And if they don't, it's only time, question of time. The changing environment will push them, make them do it. For example, you have this Sarbanes-Oxley Act in America. Why was this act is for corporate governance, right? It's called U.S. Public Company Accounting Reform and Investor Protection Act. Why was it coming? Because there were a lot of malpractices in the stock market. Then the act came, in which case people who were the corporates who were presenting their account, they were made to present it in a format prescribed by this act, right? So similarly, the Klinger-Cohen Act is for the way IT in the government industries, the government departments in America have to be organized. It says so. Or for example, if you are a supplier to any of your European Union government agencies for any public contract, you have to have certain process in place, otherwise you will not be even listed as one of the suppliers. So similarly, similar such regulations, it's question of time it would come in India too, and then we will be forced to have our process to fit to meet these kind of requirements, right? Let's see what is very quickly. It's nothing important. Definition for an enterprise. TOGAF, the Open Group Architecture Framework, they defines an enterprise as any collection of organizations that has common set of goals. For example, an enterprise could be a government agency, a whole corporation, a division of a corporation, a single department, or a chain of geographically distant organizations linked together by common ownership, right? All this, a government department could be an enterprise, the whole government could be an enterprise, and a corporate with its extended enterprise like suppliers, customers, it could be a bigger enterprise. Right? Architecture, ISO defines it as the fundamental organization of systems embodied in its components, their relations to each other, and the environment, and the principles governing its design and evolution. Architecture, you understand, a building architect does the architecture. He designs the whole building, every aspect of building, how it should be. He conceives the entire building in its final finished form. Then he creates the artifacts like blueprint diagrams, then maps, then catalogs, then log sheets, and everything, and stores them. Now, why should we talk about enterprise architecture today? Was there no architecting in the past? Of course there were. If you go to Srirangam temple, Srirangam Ranganatha's temple, there is something called Kovil Olhu, which was drafted some 2000 years ago, which thoroughly architected every process in the temple, how every employee, every priest, everyone should be taken care of, how they should be paid, how the puja should be performed, how the devotees should be handled, how prasadam should be made, everything, and what is the deity, how he should be decorated, how the temple must be maintained. Everything is very well described and architected. They existed. Our churches, every process is very well documented. Not to talk of the past, IBM World Trade Corporation was an extremely well architected company even in the 50s and 60s. I worked as an executive in that company. The entire process was conceived by a single man called Thomas Watson Sr. And there's not, you see, for an organization, the basic principles are planning, organizing, staffing, and controlling. All these four aspects of that huge organization, the IBM World Trade Corporation, at every minute detail were well conceived by him and well documented and stored and passed on to the employees, and it was very well governed. So no one could violate the principles and the architecture defined by the IBM Thomas Watson's well-conceived architecture. Like I said, when a building is constructed, it starts with architecting. The drawings and other artifacts like catalogs and other documents form the basis for the construction of the activities. Without it, construction doesn't start. If it starts, you know it's chaotic. Later in time, when the building has to be either expanded, modified, or even repaired, these artifacts provide the platform for planning such works. What are these artifacts? Basic plan diagram, ground floor plan, the electrical wiring diagram, the plumbing diagram, how the door structure is planned, and every detail is drawn and catalogued and stored. You just need to, before any repair work is done, you need to access those diagrams and see where the plumbing is done, where the electrical wiring is done, and then only plan your repair or expansion, whatever. Right? The other example is, like for example, you take a car manufacturer. They don't make the entire aspect. I mean, they don't buy sheet and of steel and then start manufacturing the car, every part of it in a car factory. No. They integrate several parts made by disparate various suppliers. Various sources supply various components. Somebody makes engines for the car, somebody makes the chassis for the car, somebody makes a radiator for the car, somebody makes the seats, somebody makes the wiper blades. I mean, it's all made by different manufacturers, different locations, and they just come and fit it. How? because the whole manufacturing process has been well architected, right? So if the engine manufacturer is given the thorough specification and the diagram by the car manufacturer and he makes to that specification, it will straight come and fit in with the gearbox manufactured by somebody else, because he's also been given the well architected diagrams by the car manufacturer, because it's the car manufacturer who has done the architecting. But we also had examples of enterprise who had conceived of excellent products or services to render and yet failed miserably. Not because of want of market, but because of incoherent process. There are plenty of examples. Lot of companies. We've heard people talk. I'm very sure every participant must have heard people say it was a good product, it was a good company, but somehow they didn't manage it well. What does it mean? They didn't know how to architect, process their organization systems. We have innumerable examples of enterprises with good product or services to render and a good architected process, yet failed because of people who implemented the process. We've heard stories. People saying it was all very good, everything is well thought of, but that one or two, they had a very bad man in the finance, right? So the company failed. He spoiled the company, and they didn't have good talent in the manufacturing, so the company failed. No, they had a very bad marketing team. The company failed. Right? We have heard such stories. Therefore, it is not just sufficient to have thought of good products or services, must have good process in place. Right? It was not sufficient to have these two. The enterprise must be lucky to have a group of people who worked as a coherent, homogeneous group to implement the process. Can this happen? It is not possible to get a group of people who are homogeneous in terms of ability, knowledge, strength, willingness, emotions, etc. Is it possible? Everybody from the same culture, same thought process, same willingness, same emotional state. It's not possible. Somebody is less in talent, somebody is has more talent, but somebody has a good attitude, somebody else doesn't have a good attitude. Somebody has a good attitude, but attitude is bad, right? And it was reflecting in the achievements, on the performance of the company, on the productivity of the enterprise. The old adage used to say, for every successful company, we normally talk about the successful enterprises only. For every successful enterprise, there were 9 failures. Nobody ever talked about those. Why did this happen? Because either the process was lacking, or the people were not homogeneous, were not working as a group, as a team. So much we used to talk about the importance of working as a team. Right? Invariably, if in this situation, honestly, if we were one way to put his hand on the heart and say, whoever succeeded, right, it was just because they had the favor of the dice. The variables are so many, it was loaded so much against the success. If it had happened, it is just that favor of the dice, not by design. Though people have taken credit to their wonderful ability to find people, ability to find good process, good equipment, and it's all, in spite of all that, things have failed. Right? Even the successful ones, are we sure they were performing at the optimal level? Is it that the best they could have got? We don't know. Because considering the variables, like I've narrated before, any mathematician will agree it's a probability, 1 in a million probability that everything would have worked in an optimal way. In this situation, the computers and IT have brought in a paradigm shift. Look at the computers. Computers are devoid of emotions, culture, educational background, social status, etc. If you have a particular configuration of one computer, the same configuration anywhere in the world in any situation will perform the same way. It won't say I don't like him and therefore his process I will not I will show reluctance, and I like this computer so I will show enthusiasm in handling this process. No, the computer is dispassionate. They don't get tired. Human beings do. Computers can work 24/7 for as long as we want without making errors. So long as you keep their power position and air conditioning proper, they'll keep working. You can flog them. Computers are fast and are capable of solving complex problems in a logical manner. Why? Human beings can be faster, but human is affected by emotions and other factors, right, by the society, by the environment, and therefore when it comes to solving complex problems, there are his environment, right, inhibits his solving real complex problem and in a logical manner. Many a time human beings cannot do it. What human cannot do it, computer can do it in a logical manner at a much faster speed. And combined with it, the IT has enabled reach, it has shrunk distances. I mean, I don't need to elaborate on that. IT provides the information flow without boundary through plethora of media. Today, information flows through internet, through intranet, through wireless, through mobile, you could name it. There are several means through which information can flow. IT has enabled this new paradigm. Computers and IT have created enormous possibilities for new, innovative, and constantly evolving process opportunities. Newer and newer processes are possible today. Right? Today, I can order my snacks on the internet and it will get delivered at home. 15 years ago, it couldn't have even been imagined. Right? 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I couldn't have been speaking to you on the web the way I am doing at the moment. Right? So many new processes. Customers are today offering products on the net, offering through SMS, offering sales done through SMS, sales done through mobile technologies. Services are rendered. People don't move. Most of the I do my banking transaction on my mobile. I do my banking transaction on the internet. I pay all my bills through internet. So many new processes have come. In this situation, with every change in technology and new opportunities coming in, it gives you opportunities for new process. If you are agile, if an enterprise is an agile, it can enjoy the benefit of the first come first serve basis. If you can be agile and respond and take advantage of the opportunities provided, you get the best. You are the first. Right? You are first to the market, quick to the market. Right? The enterprise architecture creates that agility. If you are well architected, you can be agile. Right? We will see it as we go along. The enterprise architecture also prepares the enterprises to changes. The only thing that's permanent in this world is change. Right? How you respond to the change, how you manage the change will reflect on your performance, on the enterprise's performance. How an agile organization can respond to changes, and the response will reflect in the performance of the enterprise. What is IT and its architecture? Architecture is principles, that is, any enterprise has its principle. It has to have principles, or we won't pay bribes. At any point of time, we'll be right side of the law. We'll pay our taxes in time. Right? We will not use pirated software. Organizations have their principles. Right? So enterprises define their principles. Based on the principles, the policies come, and also the specifications. And along with it, once these are in place, processes are come in place. Along with the process, procedures and practices are defined. Right? And that's architecture. IT provides a platform for storing the principles, policies, procedures, and practices. IT enables the process. You see, a lot of companies, I'm very sure a little older people will understand, the employees will be taken in by the company, and he would not be given a copy of the employee policies. He wouldn't know what is a PF policy, what is the leave policy, what is the his benefits, right? And he will always be in confusion whether he can encash his leave or he cannot, and every time he will check back with the HR, right? But why? In the past, you had to give him a copy of the policy. Today, you can have it published in your company's website. Employee can access it anytime he wants. IT makes it very easy, right? All activities of an enterprise, like buying, selling, making payments, design, manufacture, recruiting people, broadcasting the company's policies, philosophies, or products, services, almost everything is done through IT today. It's all digitized. Fine. Is it all hunky-dory there? IT brings with it its own pangs. Let's see some interesting results. When 108 CEOs of Fortune 500 type enterprises interviewed by Warren Selko of IBM, he uncovered substantial, unprecedented frustration among top 108 CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. On a scale of 1 to 10, they rate quality and timeliness at 6. That's not a good rating. And appropriateness at 6. Right? If appropriateness on a scale of 1 to 10 is 6, then why are they using IT? And who 108 CEOs of the top 500 companies in the Fortune 500 were feeling this? 70% of all computer printouts were used to re-enter data into other databases. What a waste. One company reported that 80 to 90% of developers' time was devoted to maintenance, and that of maintenance, and of that maintenance, 60 to 70% was devoted to maintaining interfaces, copying and transforming data and databases to database. It's totally non-productive. These are all surveys and research done by experts, and the sources are quoted at the bottom. 70% of the lines code in the company that you are maintaining are doing nothing but moving data from system to system, file to file. 40% of the machine cycles are expended moving data, doing no productive work. One bank was storing customer data redundantly in 129 files. Sounds very familiar, isn't it? Statistically, the average data fact is stored 10.8 times redundantly. This is neither smart nor cheap. I didn't say that. Bill Smith quoted by Zachman in his article. So, if this is so, on one side we said IT has enabled all this, given us all kind of opportunities for processes. On the other side, we see the way we've been using IT. That's when the open group formed. Who is open group? It's a consortium of all IT vendors, IT software vendors, IT application service providers, IT service providers, IT users, consulting companies. They all, at the moment the present membership is more 300, they combined and formed an open group, and they realized the importance of addressing this frustration. If not, IT would have gone rejected by the world. Right. If with that view in mind, they realized importance of creating specifications, standards, and also they felt the user, the way they use it, because why was that frustration not happening? Because every IT process or every process in the company was developing as an independent silo. No two silos were shaking hands with each other. And hence the frustration, all the wastages, non-smart way of working, which we listed before. So the open group felt it incumbent on them to design a process, a framework, an architected way of working and designing the process. So they created a framework for it, right? And that's called the open group architecture framework. That's in short called TOGAF. It's an intellectual property of this open group. It's a standard for a framework. It's up to the enterprise to use the framework. Either you use TOGAF or any other framework. Important point is that you must be well architected. You've thought about your process, right? And this TOGAF is a proven enterprise architecture methodology and framework used by the world's leading organizations to improve the business efficiency. If more than 60% of the organizations which have a well thought out architectural framework in their enterprise, they use TOGAF. It's the most common and reliable enterprise architecture standard adopted globally, ensuring consistent standards, methods, and communications among enterprises and architecture professionals. Enterprise architecture professionals fluent in TOGAF standards enjoy greater industry credibility, job effectiveness, and career opportunities. TOGAF helps practitioners avoid being locked into proprietary methods, utilize resources more efficiently and effectively, protect their existing investment, realize a greater return. We will see how this is achieved. An architecture framework is a foundational structure, as we said before, a set of structures that can be used for developing a broad range of different architectures. Because an enterprise has different functions could have different enterprise architectures. It should describe a method for designing a target state of enterprise in terms of set of building blocks and of showing how the building blocks fit together. What is this? Any enterprise would want a particular state to reach. Say tomorrow they would like to offer their products on the web. They would like to offer their product on the mobile technology, or they would like to achieve 4 times growth in the next 5 years. It could be any business driver, or there is a change in the regulation, the drug companies, government changes certain regulations, then they would like to comply with the regulation. There could be any kind of business driver driving them to make changes. right? Then they know where they would like to be at a given period of time. That's a target state. For that target state, you need to design the process. How, if in that target state to achieve the result that you had planned for, then what is the process that you should be following there? Then that is a target state of architecture or the process, right? And any organization, there are several processes are coming in building blocks. If you really see selling in that, order booking and registering in the with the uh, manufacturing department, with the inventory department, is all a process. So selling is a process, purchase is a process. Each one is a independent building block, right? And if you see whatever process you do, whichever division, department, location, wherever, whatever be the process, this selling will be common. The methodology for selling will be common. The methodology or the process for purchase will be common. So you can build a common process, and therefore this can be used wherever selling is, wherever purchase is required. Same process can be just taken and put in there. We will come to this aspect again. An enterprise architecture, the architecture framework should contain set of tools and provide a common vocabulary. This is most important. The entire organization should speak the same language. How frequent we have seen the IT department people will come and speak a language that others won't understand. They'll be using jargons that nobody would understand. The MBAs, the business management students will come in as executives and they will speak a language which others won't understand. Then how would that team work as a coherent team? So it's very important the entire organization has a common dictionary. That's part of the architecture framework. It should also include a list of recommended standards and compliant products that can be used to implement the building blocks. What it means here, the compliant products or the software products, right? And the standards, the standards are either determined by the regulations, standards determined by the industries, standards determined by the organization person because of their policies of principles, right? The framework, the architecture framework should conform to those standards. What is the unique features of the open groups architecture framework? It is pervasive. It is for the enterprise, covers business, information system, both data and application and technology. Right? It covers the entire enterprise. Right? The business architecture, the business strategic decision making process, the information systems, both the data management as well as application system softwares, and the technology. What is the technology? The backbone that you are using. Right. For each one, the architecture, the TOGAF gives you your process, the method of to be adopted, it gives you the framework for architecting all these platforms. It is modular. What is modular? It's very interesting because you go to a consultant today. I'm not happy about a particular thing that's happening in my company, or I want to grow 5 times 2 times in the next 3 years. I have to achieve 100% growth in the next 2 years, or I want to introduce a new product, my competition is doing very well and they're making my life miserable, and therefore how do I handle them? You go to a consultant. The consultant gives you a beautiful report, and he also tells you you'll have to change the whole process in your company. Then what happens? Nothing happens. The report is taken and filed in the chairman's bookshelf. Why? Because the prescription is you have to change the whole organization. Will that happen? Can you shut your enterprise for, say, 6 months or 1 year, 2 years until the new process is put in place and then start all over again? Doesn't happen. Whereas the TOGAF architectural framework allows you to choose one segment, because today there is a business driver, right? Regulations have changed, and therefore I have to comply to these regulations. My processes in my accounting reporting, or in my manufacturing process, or in my product labeling, or offering to the market, whatever changes are there, you, that aspect alone, you take it, start architecting. At least there, bring in the proper architected process. Now, the organization understands the architecting and architecture framework. Slowly expand it to another process, another division, another function. Totally bring in the entire enterprises. Or you, for example, you start a new product, start with proper architecting there. Or you going to a new market, start with proper architecting for that. And then expand to cover the entire enterprise. It allows you to do that. That's why it's modular. Therefore, you don't shut your entire operation for 2 years to design a new process to achieve a particular result, and you don't know whether you would achieve it or not. Whereas here, as you want to go along, you could do it. And the most interesting thing, which is not mentioned in this slide, is that you don't need external agencies to do your architecting. Right? It's in the TOGA framework allows you to have your own internal. In fact, it is important to have internal architecture board, internal architecture team, and internal architecture governing body. And the TOGA prescribes the the enterprise architecture effort should start from CEO giving his contract to you, to the architecture team, and will be sponsored by CIO, and he would be forming part of the governing body, and the governing body will right through will be governing how it is architected, and it's all it comprises of people from internal departments. Right? You could have external consultants as mentors to fill in any gaps that you have for any skill set. But otherwise, it's all internal people. The other important feature of TOGAF is asset, repository basis. It ensures proper archiving of all the processes. Particularly when you took decisions, even as you were evolving your architecture using this framework, right? It would involve, we'll come again in the next slide, it will involve a lot of iterations, right? Then at every step it is archived so that you know why you took a particular decision for a particular process, right? It's cataloged and indexed and well documented and stored. And there is a the framework recommends content management framework also, how you manage your repository. Therefore, at any point of time, for you to retrieve any catalog or any indexed detail or any documents, or the manner in which why you took a decision or whatever, what is the abiding principle of that decision, it's available. This means continuum. This means endurance. Once then, it stays forever. Right? A classic example is a double entry bookkeeping. It's a we're talking about architecture, double entry bookkeeping, the one which is designed by the Italian priest. We don't pay him any royalty, none of us even acknowledge him. When we start a company, does anyone think about, or start any enterprise, any organization, association, any government department, does anyone think about how they're going to write the books? They think they will hire some accountant and he will write the books. But how does he write the books? He writes the books using double entry bookkeeping. What is it? It's a very well architected, very well documented accounting framework, accounting architecture. Right? And nobody tinkers with it. We've taken it for granted, it's ours. And we do follow it. And nothing goes wrong so long as we do it in the way it is documented. If there are errors in accounting, it's not being governed, that's our problem. If only we govern it properly, there cannot be any error in double entry bookkeeping. Or TPM, TQM, what are they? They are very well architected manufacturing process management. The whole world has adapted TQM, TPM today. Right? The TOGAF promotes reuse of building blocks. Reuse, buy, build in that order. Emphasis is on reuse. What does it mean? Like I said, at various functions in an enterprise, at various locations, there will be purchase as an activity going on. There will be selling as an activity. Order management as an activity will be going on. Keeping the accounts, the records as an activity would be going on. Right? And this is one thing. So if there is a process for purchase which is already in place, and if there is a system that's working, all that you need, wherever purchase is there, just take this process, reuse it. So in your repository, check if there is something available for similar process, take it and use it. Wherever possible, reuse it, so that you're fast, you can quickly implement. Right? If you can't find similar process because whatever new process that you're going for it's unique, try and see if they are available in the industry, in the market, the solutions for those processes. Then buy that ability, buy that capability. Right? Even in the market it's not available, then build it yourself. As far as possible, reuse your own resources, otherwise buy over-the-counter available solutions. If neither is possible, then build it yourself. Therefore, the agility is ensured as far as possible. Business, it focuses on business capabilities. Capability mapping, identification, development and utilization is a unique feature. The organization has capability, individuals have a capability. The TOGAF framework recommends proper mapping of these capabilities to ensure before deciding on process, see the capabilities, whatever, then if you're properly mapping and then seeing the importance and availability and ability to maneuver, manage or manipulate the capabilities, right? You know what is a gap. Then you know how to fill the gap. That's the unique feature of it. Enables gradual evolution. Step-by-step iteration as it goes, evolves from as is to be architectures. You have a desire to be in a particular state 1 year from now, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, right? But today you have your process in a particular manner. Then you understand the gap. Then you work out work packages as to how to fill up the gaps, steps to fill up the gaps. Right? And when you are filling up the gap, you understand the risk. You change a process, what could happen? You analyze the risk. right? Identify the risk and see how you're going to mitigate those risks. Don't jump into a new process without thinking about the risks involved in shifting to a particular process, and find an answer to mitigate those risks. And TOGAF's architecture framework ensures that you do risk management of your, particularly changing of technology, changing of the data structure, or changing application software. There would be risks involved, and see whether you can mitigate those risks. How are you going to mitigate? You have a mitigation plan. The other unique feature is the service-oriented architecture. You see, I said purchase. What does the purchase do? It serves the manufacturing. It serves the inventory department. It serves the administration in purchasing, let's say, computer, the purchasing stationery, purchasing fans, AC. So there is a service, there is a giver of service, there is a receiver of service. You can break the entire enterprise into several givers of service, receivers of service. So you base your architecture on a service-oriented architecture, giver of service, receiver of service. This enables easy definition of building blocks. A building blocks, a particular building blocks can be total car manufacturing, total computer manufacturing, or total air conditioner manufacturing, total table manufacturing, right? Or building blocks could be financing the table manufacturing. That could be a building block, because there are processes involved in arranging the finance or recording the finance. Accounting can be a building block. Purchase the materials for building a table, the purchase could be a building block. Then selling could be a building block. There could be, you have to identify various building blocks, right, which have to be combined together to get the entire table manufacturing enterprise, manufacturing and selling enterprise, right, or computer manufacturing and selling enterprise, air conditioner manufacturing and selling enterprise, right, or let's say air conditioner company, manufacturing company, the Chennai region, right, there are the sales department procures orders, and then they place the order on the production department or the manufacturing department, right? And for this, the accounts department keeps the records, arranges money for the manufacturer. The purchase department buys the components, right? The administration department provides the facilities. IT department provides the facilities, right? So various building blocks. The IT department has done this for Calcutta region. They know that's a building. If you got your process documented as a building block, all that you have to do is the building block providing IT infrastructure to a regional office. That building block can be just lifted, replicated here, right? You just similar building blocks, you take them, attach them, you are ready to offer. Ensures all stakeholders, this is a very important aspect, ensures all stakeholders' concerns are addressed. This is very, very important, because normally in any enterprise, we talked about the frustrations of the IT. Why did it happen? Because somebody took a decision to go for, let's say, a particular ERP or to a particular process, because it in the opinion of that particular function, that was a very good process to go for. But when you change a particular process in any aspect or any wings of an enterprise, it affects several stakeholders. Customers are stakeholders, salesmen are stakeholders, purchase department is stakeholder, finance is a stakeholder, right? All of them will have to have a contribution there. You have not consulted them. You have not taken their views and viewpoints, how they're going to meet your requirements to fulfill the process that you had planned or designed. And because this handshake was not taking place, you had all those frustrations. Here, the TOGAF ensures you, in your architectural body, a team, you have representatives from all stakeholders, particularly major stakeholders, right? Ask their views. If you take an electrician to a room and ask him for him to do the job, what does he want? He will ask for a particular way of electrical diagram. And that's enough. He will work on that. And when you say, I'm going to take a pipe right across like this, or I'm going to nail a picture there, if you have not taken his concern, you will get the shock. If you have addressed his concern, he will tell you, this is the places I've taken the wires, please don't nail here. So it's important to take the concerns, and they need to be addressed at the time of designing the entire enterprise's architecture. If everybody's concerns are addressed, right, then the various issues of teamwork we were talking about is obviated. Because of that, it becomes iterative. You design a particular process, you design a particular architecture, you have a stakeholder meeting, and then stakeholders raise concerns. Then go back to the design table, redo it before you arrive at the final to be architecture. It may involve quite a few iterations. You may have to even go back and change your original target also. It could happen. But because if the concerns are so great, you need to address them. Otherwise, your process is going to fail. Right? This enables disciplined change management and reduces arguments. I don't need to elaborate it. It's obvious. Right? It offers effective business, IT, bridging business scenarios creation ensures nothing gets missed. How many times we have heard people say, am I overshooting? Am I overshooting the time? I'll take not shorten it. Okay. It's a very common for us to hear people say, IT guys, they do something I don't understand. And business, they have not given what I wanted. If it is well architected, IT and business or their differences are bridged. Right? You create one of the unique features of TOGAF, create business scenarios that ensures nothing gets missed. You architect for the business scenario that you created. So it ensures no aspect is missed. Every aspect of the scenario, right, is addressed. Because at the time of creating the scenario, you know very well, this is where I want to be, and will this scenario take me there? I will very quickly run through this. It complies to standards and specifications. That's the important thing, right? Compliance to regulations, monitoring compliance. This is a very unique feature of TOGAF. More effective business operation, it ensures the benefits of TOGAF is lower business operation costs, obvious, more agile organization, business capabilities shared across the organization because stakeholders' concerns are addressed, lower change management cost because you know your building blocks are already stored in your repository. Anytime you change management, you're going in for a new process, you know which are the common building blocks, just replicate them, only the gaps, fill them. It takes much less time than building the whole process. More flexible workforce. If the process is in place, do we bother about who is the man who's manning a particular process, particularly in the IT industry? So it becomes anybody can, the wider gap. A person is capable of responding to wider issues, and more importantly, if with the IT, if the process is in proper order, then the human intervention is only to handle dispensations. By dispensations, I mean exceptions. Because if a system doesn't have exceptions, then there is something wrong with the system. Because there cannot be any system which doesn't call for exception. There will be exceptions. If there are only exceptions, then there is wrong with the system again. So when there is an exception, somebody has to take a decision. That's where human intervention should come. Doesn't have to be on a continuous basis. Improve business productivity, a more efficient IT operation, lower software development, support and maintenance costs, because right across the organization you are using the same. There is a uniformity, there are standards, there is you are reusing the same process, right? Increased portability of applications. I don't have to repeat it. Improved interoperability and easier system and network management. Improved ability to address critical enterprise-wide issues such as security, because there is a standard, there are specifications, it's run all pervading across the enterprise. Easier upgrade in exchange of system components. Better return on existing investment because reduced risk for future investment. Reduced complexity in the business and IT because it's a standard, everybody knows, people are used to a particular process, you are only replicating it everywhere. Maximum return on investment in existing business and IT infrastructure. The flexibility to buy or outsource business and IT solutions is very easy today because you know your capability, you know your to-be architecture, the gap, you take a decision quickly. Can you build the capabilities to fill the gap? You can't build, then outsource it. Reduced risk overall in new investments and their cost of ownership because it is architected. You know where you're going to be. You must mark the word in the earlier slide, the reduced risk, which means there is risk. Supposing you, I am very well architected, I've used TOGAF, I've got my framework designed, right? Does it assure me success 100% of the time? How would it? If you have chosen a wrong product, today you want to sell bullock carts and set up a factory for making bullock carts. However well you architected your organization process, you're not going to succeed. Probably you will if you go to some remote African villages and try and sell bullock carts. Maybe the architecture. So, if you're well architected, probably you would have thought of it. I can't sell it in Indian market, or I can't sell it here. I can sell it in African market or some remote Somalia kind of countries. Right? It could reduce the risk. Yes, you know where to market or where you cannot market at all. faster and cheaper and simpler procurement, because now you've standardized across the enterprise. So anybody who knows, in the beginning I talked about boundaryless information flow. If the information flow is boundaryless, imagine a salesman, he picks up the order, right then, if the information on his PDA or in his laptop is available, the availability of stocks, he straight away books that product for the, and because he has booked it, and he also knows what are the components required, and the system ensures immediately to the procurement, to the purchase, supply chain management department function, the requirement of product. And when somebody wants a particular product, if this system is already, the supply chain management has already shortlisted the supplier, given the specification, finalize the price, everything, no one, so long as the budget is there, no one need to go back to the procurement, supply chain management, ask him to purchase it, because he's already been, everything's been specified. He just goes, if there is a budget, he goes to the place, he goes with the click of a mouse, he places the order directly. Right? The time, how many times we hear people saying in a meeting, sorry, I asked for a particular laptop, it has not come. I asked for a modem, it has not come. I asked for a particular equipment, it has not come. I asked for it 6 times, 7 times. I mean, I've been asking for years, I've been sending reminders. None of these is necessary. Right? And because it is one supply chain management is going to process, study, and there is a standard across the company, and the ability to procure heterogeneous multi-vendor open systems. Right? The ability to secure more economic capabilities. It's quickly about our company, CCNC Solution. We specialize in enterprise architecture. The managing principal Vish Vishwanathan is the pioneer in this. He was in the architecture board of the Open Group for 4 years. He is the prime mover in starting a certification program for TOGAF, so that there is a lot of people trained on this framework and start using this framework. We offer various services. Right? Essentially, we do consulting, mentoring, and training for TOGAF. This is about our principle. Thank you. The floor is open for questions. Are there any questions coming? I'm okay with it. It's all right. So it's a difficult topic.
Explained and the examples and
You see, within 1 hour. Somebody is typing, yeah, I noticed that. The other aspect is in this, you don't see the faces, you don't get a feedback. What is the difference between the archiving and documentation? Documentation is every step that you do, you document it in prescribed form. but they must be stored and so that for posterity to retrieve it, and that is archiving. Storing it for future retrieval and using it, that's archiving. Documenting, first putting it in a prescribed form is documenting. I'm able to see it. A little difficult, but yet.
Advice I could
No, no, no problem. Is there anyone typing else?
No, not yet. Everybody stays.
Since there is no question, I will ask a question. Somebody is typing. Let's see. And
Any specialized software used for TOGAF implementation?
interesting question. Please watch that word implementation. TOGAF is not a software. TOGAF is a framework. Right? It can be adopted. It cannot be implemented. First, we should understand. Then, for adapting TOGAF process, right? There are tools available. There are vendors who have developed tools, right? One of the CCNC solutions specializes in identifying these vendors and promoting those kind of tools for enterprises to use those tools for working on the framework. Somebody else is typing. What is the question?
What is the meaning for tinker? Tinker.
TAN?
Tinker.
I haven't understood. Where did tinker come in this? I'm not sure. What is the other question?
Is enterprise architect method of process?
Enterprise architecture is architecture, right? There are the Constitution is a legal architecture, right? So like that, enterprise architecture is the for the process. There is an architecture. It's nothing but deciding the process, documenting the process, creating the artifacts like diagrams, catalogs, maps, right? And defining and storing it properly and also governing. That is the architecture. Architecture is for the process. I was asked a question by a senior director of an organization. He said, look, we have been using ERP, we have several divisions developed and we are a 50-year-old company. We have so many processes in place. What is it new you are going to say? Why do we need any enterprise architecture? Because things have been running for us. Things have been happening for us. We have across the company, across the enterprise, ERP running, right? Quite possible that company is very well architected, right? Like I gave the example of Dell computers. If somebody could study how that company was, the process of design is very well architected company. So, but this company which says is 50-year-old, I will give a 17 or 18 litmus tests, benchmarks are there, right? If any of these happens, the company is not architected. Some of the things that's happening there are by chance, not by design. Let me say, is the company, the executives, the chairman, the board, are they exasperated with the IT department? Do they have that kind of experience? Or if there are no duplication in that company, like I listed that 108 CEOs described, or whenever any statutory form to be filled and the CEO says, I want that form to be filled, and it takes days and months to get the data to fill the form. Why should it? If it happens, does it happen in your enterprise? Then, if there are changes in technology or in the market situation or in the regulation, how quickly you respond? Are you happy with the speed with which you're responding? Is it that your competitor is the first to exploit any changes before you? Does it happen that your employees complain against each other? Sir, I asked for a particular thing, it didn't come at all, and I wanted this to be changed, it didn't happen. I asked for a particular data, it didn't come. Do they keep complaining to you, to the CEO or to the bosses? They said my supplier bill is not paid, and therefore the supplier is threatening to stop supply. Does it happen in your enterprise? Are you is the CEO made to, or the boss made to arbitrate between departments? There are complaints between departments, issues between departments. Do they have to frequently arbitrate between them? And does it happen that someone has resigned and the company feels paralyzed? The enterprise feels paralyzed. Oh, he's a very important person, we can't afford to lose him. Do you get that kind of situation? Does it happen? Is it that your decisions, your involvement, the CEO's involvement is required on every matter, or you are involved only in decisions of expansion, diversification, or when dispensation, exceptions take place, you need to give a decision? Are all the people in your enterprise speak the same language? Or are they use different dictionaries, different terms, and there is one-upmanship and brownie points are scored across the enterprise? If these things happen, even one of these happening, your organization is not architected. They are operating different silos, and if at all things are happening, the good and the bad is only by luck and by chance, not by design. Right? So my executive friend, whoever asked me this question, that we are 50-year-old, we are using ERP, and if these tests they conduct, if honestly to themselves and see if none of these issues exist, that means that the enterprise is very well architected. If these are, even one of it is existing, then they need to look into architecting their process. They need an EA in that enterprise. I think with that, I would like to conclude the day's session. Would you want to say anything?
One more question.
One more question? Yeah, I would answer that for the last. What is
the role of the IT in enterprise?
IT is everything. Today, IT is this nerve center. It is, if you recall the entire presentation that I made, before the advent of IT and the computers the way as they are today, it was people dependent. It was all by chance. Everything, success or failure, it is all by chance. If anybody thought, people used to attribute it to some individuals, he's a great leader, and what? He's a great leader only to motivate people and reduce the frictions. Right? It's again chance. It was not that even the great leader could avoid any interaction infractions, right? But IT today has made boundaryless flow of information possible, has made people are not important, processes are important. The planning, organizing, staffing and controlling, which I talked about, staffing and controlling, the importance of those functions been taken away. Right? Today you need people only to address the exceptions, the dispensations. Otherwise, the process should take care of it by itself. It doesn't matter who is where. I will give you an example of Dell computers, which will explain. There was a particular person who was head of a particular division. They were achieving their target, selling. They were, getting he was getting the highest incentive. He was the best performing executive. The organization started a new division, and he was made the CEO of that division as a I won't call it a promotion in that company because I will explain why it is not. He was made CEO of that division because he was rated high performer. It's come out. But then after 6 months or so, for some reason, they had to close the division. When they closed the division, they got rid of everybody in the division, including this person who was made the CEO. He was a great performer in the company. Any other enterprise would have said, no, he is a performer already, why should we get it? We can use him somewhere else. No, your people are not important. The process is in place, anybody could deliver the same result. Right? So, IT is essential, right? IT enables this to happen. Because of IT only, we are now able to talk about enterprise architecture. If it were not there, we wouldn't be talking like this. Then one more question, last question.
So Subramanian, what are the ERP tools?
ERP?
Tools.
Enterprise architecture has nothing to do with ERP tools. ERP is one of the framework, software or tool or which individual enterprise is free to use whatever they want. The beauty of TOGAF is you can use several frameworks within that, so long as you follow the framework prescribed by TOGAF. Right? It enables, you can use part of TOGAF, you can use completely